Hi Engineering Janta, I am Vaibhav Shukla and I welcome you all to the part 2 of time complexity and analysis of algorithm video of the free DSA series that we are building so that your placement journey becomes super smooth and easy. So before I proceed further, you must follow these social media handles so that you stay updated with the hiring updates and you never miss out on them. Today top 3 comments would get Prep Insta Prime for free. So you must comment under this video so that you don't miss a chance of getting the free subscription. As I promised in the last video, I have some loops for your practice and we'll understand in real time how to calculate time complexity. For that, this is the first loop. It is the simplest loop and it is quite easy to calculate its time complexity, and I'll make sure it is easy for you. Okay. So we'll straight away dive in and understand how this functions. Okay. To check time complexity, the first thing you should be focused on is how many times this statement gets executed. And for that you need to know how many times this loop will get executed or how many times this loop will run. So how will you get it? Consider I is 0 and n is some very big value. Okay. And here I will write loop runs, which means how many times a loop runs. Okay, fine, I'll write times, number of times the loop runs. Okay, number of times the loop runs. So when I is 0, 0 is less than n, consider n is some very big value. Okay, 0 is less than n, statement will get executed. Basically the loop will get executed once and then I will increment. So basically loop runs once, I becomes 1. For 1 as well, this stands true. Again, the loop runs once. It gets incremented to 2. For 2, this again gets executed because 2 is still less than n. Okay. So again, once it will get executed. Again, I keep on going. For 3, it again gets executed and till n minus 1 value, because I needs to be less than n. So till n minus 1 value, this loop would run once every time. So if we compute how many times this loop ran, the total number would come out to be n. ये n कैसे आया? Simple है, देखो, leave this right now. अभी ये portion छोड़ दो, ठीक है? Start from 1 and come till n minus 1. If you come from here to here and start adding these ones, basically it would be n minus 1 times. For example, if you start from 1 and you go till 9, so basically there are 9 digits, right? Or 9 units, right? So if you go till n minus 1, these will be n minus 1 units from here to here, correct? And this one, once it has ran for the 0 value of I, so I'll add that up. So n minus 1 plus 1 becomes n. So that is how you get this n. Okay. While getting this n, when we know that loop runs for n times, now what was time complexity? Remember how the time is represented as the function of the input size. So the input can be seen here, that how many times loop ran, right? So this whole loop has the time complexity of order of n, okay, or big O of n. How do you get it? Because it ran n times. Simple. Okay. Now I go to the next loop where there are 2 loops, nested loops. Okay. I just told you this loop will work for n times. Since the last loop, we can easily see this would run for n times. Clear? If you just forget this loop for once and you see in this loop, things are same, just that in place of I there is j. So this also will work for n times in similar fashion, and henceforth this statement will run n into n times. Why so? Because for every iteration of this will run n times. So basically this becomes n into n. And when this is n into n, this statement also runs for n into n times, which basically means order of n square or big O of n square is the time complexity of this nested loop. Is it clear? इस nested loop की time complexity order of n square आएगी because for n times this loop will run. Every time this will run for n times. So n into n, right? So n into n becomes n square, and this n square basically means this statement gets executed for n square times. Simple. Okay. Now, third loop. This looks quite similar but isn't. It is a bit tricky. I'll explain you how. See, I'll write I, I'll write j. Number of times loops ran. Now this would be interesting, quite interesting. I is 0, j is 0. Because I is initially 0, this becomes true, we enter the second condition. J is 0. Is j less than I? Is 0 less than 0? No, it is not. It is false. So loop will run 0 times. Basically it won't run. Simple सी बात है. The loop won't run. So it will run for 0 times. Now, when I becomes 1, initially j is again 0. So 0, when j acquires the 0 value, 0 is less than 1, basically j less than I, 0 is less than 1, loop runs. But when it becomes 1, 1 is not less than 1, false, as this was false. So this will not run. Number of times loops ran once. Now for 2, when you clearly see this pattern, 0, 1 and 2, these 3 values would be acquired by j because j will again start from 0 and will go till 2. On 0 it will execute because 0 is less than 2. On 1 it will execute because 1 is also less than 2. But when it comes to 2, 2 less than 2 is false, so it will not execute. So it will run for, number of loops will run for 2 times. Okay. Now we keep on going down like this, and if we follow the same pattern for n value, when I becomes n, j will actually go from 0 to n. Okay. This value of j would grow from 0 to n, right? And it will, the number of loops will run for n times. Now when you add these numbers, because this is the final computation which we have to do to get the time complexity, what we do is 0, which basically means nothing, plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus, and because this will continue in the same fashion, so 1, 2, 3, 4 for every iteration here. So it will go till n. Now 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, when it goes till n, this is the sum of first n natural numbers. This is the sum of first n natural numbers, and by using the rules of progressions, what we can find is n into n plus 1 by 2, which is basically the sum of first n natural numbers. What we get is n square plus n by 2. What does this suggest? This is roughly equal to n square. Just an approximation to make things easy. Okay. So this is big O of n square. This part is small in front of n square when you imagine big values. Okay. So this is order of n square. You get it, big O of n square. Now, when we see this loop is quite interesting and unusual than the loops we just practiced. Why so? In this loop, the number of executions are not depending on the value of I. The loop is incrementing the value of I interestingly, but the executions are depending on the value of P. अब P जैसे जैसे बढ़ेगा वैसे n के साथ वो वेरी करेगा और n के साथ उसका जो रिलेशन होगा उसके बेसिस पे लूप एग्जीक्यूट होगा. But in this particular case, every time what we do is we add I to P when this statement is executed. So this loop will not run for n times, let me tell you, but for some iterations it would definitely go ahead, right? So what that number would be, imagine when I was 0, p was 0, right? Then I got incremented, and when I got incremented to 1, when it was 1, and for the second time we came and checked, p was still 0, okay, which means this will become 0 plus 1, which is 1, 0 plus 1 plus 2, which is 3, and this will go on. So basically when you go on and you reach till kth step, let's imagine for k times this loop ran, for k steps this loop ran, because we don't know the exact number, because here I is not varying with n. Here the issue is the variation depends on p, the times this loop will run depends on the value of p. As soon as p exceeds the value of n, it will immediately stop working. So imagine for k steps this loop works, and in the kth iteration p becomes greater than n. Basically what I am saying is this 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 going on till k, this p becomes more than, this is equal to p, this is value of p which we are computing. So basically this p becomes greater than n. Now when p becomes greater than n, what I am basically saying is this 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 k times is greater than n, which basically means sum of first natural numbers till k. So k into k plus 1 by 2 is basically greater than n. That is what I am suggesting. If this is true, then k square plus k by 2 is greater than n. Roughly for very big values we can say k square is greater than n. What does this mean? K is greater than square root of n. Henceforth you get the value of k steps. Basically k steps are greater than the square root of n. So this loop's time complexity becomes order of root n. Am I clear? This becomes order of root n because the k steps are definitely greater than root n, and we are actually discussing the big O notation which provides you the upper bound, as I told you. Okay, so this is the complexity for this loop. Now this is the order of complexities in which they can be arranged. This can be considered as the best or the most ideal time complexity. This is not a very ideal time complexity. It is considered as one of the slowest time complexities, right? But I told you, in some cases you might find that order of n is actually working better than order of 1. Why am I saying it? Consider that you have two algorithms, algo 1 and algo 2. In these two algorithms, in algo 1, it takes constant time. Okay, this constant time is 100 seconds, right? So the order of 1 stands true for this because there is a constant time for it. So it is constant, and henceforth the time complexity becomes order of 1. For algo 2, consider the time complexity was order of n. Now you remember that toy example, we have 10 toys. If we start finding out with this algorithm, it will take 100 seconds for 10 toys, and this algorithm will take 10 seconds for 10 toys. Consider that this is how it varies. Okay, so this time order of n is actually behaving better than order of 1, isn't it? Whereas this chart suggests that order of 1 should be faster. So that is what I was telling. There would be some exceptions till which algo 2, where order of n is there, can actually perform better than order of 1. But this will only perform until the value of the number of toys is lesser than the constant time. Basically, if this becomes 500 toys, then this would be definitely faster. So when the size of the input grows over the larger graph, this will always come out as the fastest. Okay, So basically what I am trying to suggest is, generally when people ask for optimized solutions, this is the range of time complexities. ये याद रखना इंटरव्यू के लिए, ठीक है? This is something you have to remember for interview. Generally, optimized solutions are in this particular range. Generally, not so optimized are in this range, okay, till n square, I would suggest, till this particular portion. Generally not optimized, you have to note this down, and this often lies here and sometimes it lies here. So we can classify it is less preferred but sometimes considered optimized, okay. Very rarely it would happen that n log n would be considered as an optimized solution, but it can happen sometimes, but it is less preferred. The time complexities for optimized solutions that are generally preferred lie in this range. This is almost impossible to achieve when you have big problems to solve. In small problems this might work for some cases, but usually it is not achieved. These are the two time complexities which are always preferred, always better, okay. So going ahead, now I'm showing you the graphs. Why am I showing you the graphs? Often in the interview, when interviewer will find that you are very good at problem solving, he'll like to trap you somewhere. And to trap you, these are some famous graphs which he can ask, and will ask you draw the graph of this time complexity, so that he understands whether you have crammed the solutions to the problems or you genuinely know how things vary with time, okay. So for order of log n, this is the graph. You can simply note down these graphs, you can make them in your notebook. For order of n, there is linear graph, okay, and for order of n square, it suddenly starts rising and rises vertically. And for order of 1, which is constant time complexity, the value remains same for every input on x-axis, okay. Whatever may be the input size, the time remains constant, okay. Now if I write from best to worst time complexity, then best to worst order would be like this: order of 1 best, order of log n, order of n, and order of n square. Why am I saying? I told you that log n is better than order of n. Why? The reason is, now you see this graph, here you can understand it visually. When we start in order of log n, it rises, right? It keeps on rising, and after a period of time, it starts tracing some portion of constant graph, right? It starts becoming slowly constant or almost constant, not exactly constant. It would still rise, but not with a very fast pace. So for a longer duration, it could provide you optimized solutions. The time complexity won't rise much. So that is why it is better than order of n, where things are moving upward linearly. In order of n square, they start going up vertically like this and further like this, okay. It keeps on going up, okay. So that's where the usual orders lie. And now that's all for today's video. It's quite short and crisp and quite simple for you. And remember, keep on spreading the knowledge so that good keeps on coming back to you. Keep on doing good. It will actually come back. You must follow these social media handles. Why am I stressing this so much? So that you never miss a hiring update. The whole point of preparing so much is that we get hired into good companies. And where will we get this information from? Is this particular place, right? And top 3 comments, as I said, will get Prep Insta Prime subscription for free. So don't miss out on that, and keep on learning, keep on spreading the knowledge, keep on doing good. Thank you.